Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being on our program today. I'm Armando F. Sanchez. I have the honor of having three wonderful guests on board. We've been talking, they've been educating me, they've been taking me to a lot of different ideas and a lot of different parameters of what is possible, what is into the future. We have a question on the floor today, and sort of let's continue to think about the question. The idea of a jobless future. Is this fact or fiction? Is automation, technology, AI, are they slowly, progressively putting people out of work? And if they are they becoming permanently unemployed? Not saying they are, not saying they're not. This is the question we have in hand. Let me present to you the three guests that we have today. And again, this is part of the Futures of Today series. Our first one is Mr. Andre Colho, who is in Lisbon, Portugal. He is the editor of Basic Income News. His background is more into civil engineering. He has a postdoctorate in that area, and he attended the Lisbon Technical Institute. I just cannot imagine what a wonderful challenge it is to be in that kind of an environment, very demanding. And on top of that, he's also a musician, double bass player, and he was part of a jazz school. So when he's not working and dedicating his time to this wonderful topic of universal income, he's also doing some music and also exploring many wonderful ideas that I've had the privilege of learning from him as well. He was born in Portugal, and he lives and still works there in Lisbon. Next we have Kate McFarland. Kate is the also PhD editor, Basic Income News. She's a longtime resident of Columbus, Ohio. And she's been I love what she says about herself. She spent most of her adult life as a professional student. Wow, what a wonderful life. I wish I could do that as well, you know, earning a master's in statistics and doctorate in philosophy from the Ohio State University. She has worked temporary academic jobs, and she's now working also in a pro bono position in certain areas. So somebody's got their computer on, so we're getting the backlash now. So if somebody turn that off, please. And so we'll go from there. Our third guest, which will be joining us in a few minutes, is Darios Figueira. He's a PhD. He's a member of the Basic Income in Portugal, being associate. His background is electrical and computer engineering, PhD in robotics from the University of Lisbon. And he has published several papers in national, international peer-reviewed journals. So thank you very much for being on the program. And ladies first, and let's present again the question that we have at hand, and we're going to discuss it and bring our viewers and listeners into the discussion, have them start thinking about it, because this is about the future. So let's begin first of all with Kate. Kate, let me present the topic to you and give you 2 or 3 minutes to present your views, and then we'll go over with Andre. Jobless future, fact or fiction? Kathy?
I hope it's fact. I think that we always have to be careful with predictions like this. This is not the first time in our history that automation and the technological unemployment has been a major fear. This was a fear back in the 60s. And then a new tide of production and employment came into being and kind of forgot about these fears. Is it different now? Well, maybe so. We certainly have robots and AI that are capable not only of doing manual tasks, but now we see the rise of robots, AI, that can conduct the tasks of doctors. They can diagnose patients. They can do legal work. They can even design homes and buildings by themselves. An interesting study published last year by the consulting firm McKinsey & Company said that currently, this is right now, with existing technology, 45% of current job tasks can be automated. That's not 45% of jobs, but 45% of current activities performed by employed people. Even 20% of the jobs of CEOs, the activities performed by CEOs, can be automated just with current technology. And if there's one thing that we know about technology, it's that it's increasing all the time at amazing rates, and we just can't really predict where it will go next, especially with AI. A year ago, people thought that it would be a decade or more before an AI program could defeat a human at the game of Go, but we witnessed the defeat of Go champions just earlier this year by Google's AlphaGo.
Okay. All right. Andre, you're over in Lisbon seeing this from the European perspective in your vicinity and surrounding areas and through your network. What's your thoughts on the question, jobless future, fact or fiction?
Well, a friend of mine recently, he's an economist. He's an economist, but a physicist. He took the degree on physics and then economics. And he told me that, oh, that jobless future, that's like a dream you're having. We will have loads of jobs. Like when there was a first industrial revolution, there was loads of jobs created afterwards. And in the second revolution, there was another load of jobs created on the second revolution. So this time, it will be the same. I just thought to myself, why is that? What makes you believe that just because it happened one time, and then the second time, will it happen now and the third time? This is not rational. He's a physicist. He took math. He took statistics. He took everything. And now he just says to me with this blank face, saying, "No, that's not real. It will just be more jobs now. So don't worry." Well, I would come back to the precautionary principle. If he's right, that's okay. We have jobs, but we don't know if they'll be here forever. Let's put basic income in. If it's not right, if it like Katie's saying, we'll have 47, 50, 60% of replacement by computers, then let's put basic income. So my say is, let's put basic income anyway, just for a precaution, not forgetting that we have indications. We have indications that they are not sure, they are not 100% right. I don't know if they'll actually materialize, but we have some hints, and we should take them seriously. Very seriously.
Okay. Well, we're having Darius trying to connect, so we're
Yes.
waiting for him as well. You know, this whole idea of jobless future, when the question was initiated, fact or fiction, I don't want to sort of limit the whole idea or give the impression that it's only an IT technology issue. We have 7 billion people on the planet. So we have more hands, more people competing who want to work. So yes, there's more demand, but there's also more workers. And the other point that sometimes is brought to my attention is the idea that transportation is getting cheaper and cheaper. Bigger ships. Ships that could carry 1,000 containers, now they're up to 6,000 sometimes. So they're moving things a lot easier, a lot faster. So we're looking at this whole premise that it's not just let's go and blame the people like Dario who are the computer experts. We have to sort of take the blame all the way around. Dario, we cannot hear you, so
I know. You're talking first.
Oh, there you are. All right, Dario. So you're next in line. The question stands, and you've got a couple of minutes to initiate the discussion. Jobless future, fact or fiction?
Fact. Although with a lot of nuances. At the moment, people who look at statistics say, oh, but we are getting more jobs around the world, because they count the jobs in China, in India and stuff, which in number seem to be increasing. But then when you look at the quality of jobs, then we start looking, oh, wait, this is low quality jobs, low intellectual level or low need of skill. So where are those jobs? Which are the jobs easiest to automate next? So actually, we already have everything we need to automate most of those low quality jobs. It's just not being done. I don't know why. But it could have been done in about 5, 10 years ago. Like all the McDonald's jobs, they have a prototype restaurant with no people in it. And why didn't they automate in mass? A good question. But they could. So, at least in the technical level, fact.
Okay. It's discussion table is open.
Have you heard that Scott's sentence was, I heard in a latest article that these anesthetic robots were developed that are replacing anesthetic doctors, and these doctors flipped out totally. They put such a cloud around this automated anesthetic robot that just killed the project. We are fighting development. We are fighting development as in other industrial revolutions was done. It's happening all over again. And it makes no sense, of course.
Yeah.
We just don't have the social policies in place.
Kate, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to follow up on this last point and tie it back in with the point that Andre was raising earlier about the precautionary principle. So this just gives us more reason that we shouldn't wait until the robot job takeover actually happens to try to figure out what policies we can put in place to deal with it. Right? So one worry is that we should anticipate, plan for the worst, plan that there will be mass layoffs, mass unemployment, and make sure that we have the policy in place. But this just adds another dimension. Like ideally, we shouldn't impede progress. We should want robots to take over jobs, especially the ones that they do better than us, the ones that people wouldn't want to do, all things considered, if their money didn't depend on it anyway. And instituting a basic income right now will obviously help the poverty that exists now, the job insecurity that exists now. It will allow for, it will provide a safety net if technological unemployment does happen or when it does happen. But furthermore, it will alleviate these concerns that we have to pull the plug on new technological projects because they cause such fear of automation and such disruption from those who don't want to lose their jobs.
Even those that actually do the job better than us. Like you said, like this anesthesiologist machine or plane piloting, they do better than us. Ergo, people die less. It's this clear. People die from less anesthesia from the machine than from people, from humans. So what do you want as a patient taking care of you? And it's 10 times cheaper, so what do you want in your medical bill? Ah!
Go ahead.
Darius said something earlier about these statistics in China and India that, but the jobs are rising, but there are more jobs. This is illusory, how do I say? This is fleeting. It's like a fatal flame in front of you that will dissipate pretty quickly. These jobs that Darius was saying are the most easily automated and where most people of this next wave or of this rising wave of jobs being offered, they're the first one to be killed in an economic sense. So this is totally an illusion. Let's not trust these trends because these jobs can be automated now, not in 10 years. Now, right. It's a matter of money. Like, what is cheaper, to have these poor humans? Yeah, because they feel miserable doing these tasks, working 12 hours a day or 14 hours a day with not time for anything else, and some of them sleep on the job, or have a machine that's not cheap enough, not exactly as cheap enough as those workers, but when they are, they will replace them the next day. So
let me share something that. Again, we're having a revamp. Somebody's got a phone on or computer on. So one of the things that came up was the idea that the all mechanized McDonald's is not a prototype. It's actually operational in Phoenix, Arizona. So it's already been in operation for a few years. Let's take the question to Dario, and I don't want to put Dario on the spot, but sort of by default he is. Dario, is your job, your community of computer experts, is it fundamentally to create systems that will replace workers?
Have you seen the Atlas robot video? That humanoid robot opening doors and stuff?
No, I can't say I have.
Okay, maybe people in the audience will have. And have you seen the news about the Google AI that won the game Go? Have you read about that?
Yes.
Well, I'm in that field, both of those fields.
Congratulations.
So it's the scientists and the engineers working this, they wouldn't necessarily say so, but well, it's the what do you do with a robot that is as good as a human, like really has our size and has our mobility? What do you do with it? What is the point of it? So to answer your question, I don't even need to answer it. What is the need or what is the purpose of an AI that is able to respond to such intelligent challenges as playing Go or playing Jeopardy, the game on TV?
Armando, but this goes deeper, much deeper. What do we do with our lives? No, that's the question. These machines will very quickly be able to do most human tasks. I don't know if that's good or bad. Probably good, because we can free ourselves to do many other things we couldn't even imagine. I don't know, space exploration, deep ocean exploration, be with our families.
Yeah.
I mean, this technological. I'm an engineer, and I like these technical conversations about robots and buildings and automation, all that. But this is essentially a social issue. What do we do with our lives? How do we have access to resources? How do we distribute evenly so that nobody gets in need? Because it's not about absolute equality. Absolute equality doesn't exist, or it shouldn't, because the same for everybody is wrong. Some people need more, some people need less. It's not having the same for everybody. It's everybody having what they need. And basic income would be a first step in that direction. I would say the definite step, but a first step.
The beauty of this interview and conversation is that we have a philosopher amongst us. And let's ask Kate. Kate, what do you see as a philosophical issues here, given this whole technical question of employment, purpose of life being substituted with AI, etc.?
Yeah, well, I'm actually a philosopher of language, but I'll take a stab at this question. So, one of the characteristics as a philosopher is I like to turn to questions not just of what will be the case, but look at what should be the case and how we might change the discourse so that people might be able to change their values, and instead of seeing work as essential to life, having a job as essential to life and their main source of meaning, maybe start embracing other possibilities, and provided that we have political and economic systems in place to allow it, begin to welcome this jobless future that I think could very well happen. And I think that brings us to another important point. When asking, if a jobless future fact or fiction, we can't just look at the technology and see if we have the ability to put people out of work. We also have to say, do we have the will? Are the values in our society such that will actually embrace this possibility rather than doing all we can to resist it and creating more jobs, even if they're just made up managerial positions or whatever, watching robot watchers or whatever. So I think, if you look at our discourse today, if you look at our education systems, if you look at what people ask each other when they're meeting one another, what do you do for a living? And you ask children, what do you want to be when you grow up? Our discourse is very much focused around the idea that a job, one particular job, full-time employment, is essential to our identity, to our purpose. And of course, this pervades political discourse as well. We are still hearing all about job creation, at least here in the States, and all the presidential candidates are talking about what they'll do to create more jobs. You're not looking at, like, how do we allow robots to take over our jobs and help us make better use of our leisure time. Can you
imagine if they did?
I started asking children, instead of what do you want to be when you grow up, how do you want to sell your labor, ask them, what do you want to do to the world? How do you want to leave the world a better place?
And exactly. That's something we've been discussing in our group a lot, and it's really hard. How do you want to live your life? What do you want to do that gives meaning to your life when you don't have that stopgap which is occupying most of your time?
Yeah, well, one time I went with Darios to a political meeting of a party, and we introduced the idea of basic income to a small group, and immediately a lady turned to us and said, what about giving back? If you get something, you must give back something. You must. And, well, in a way, okay, I agree. Everyone should contribute to society, should, make sure that this big, mean, complex machine works well. But must we be compulsory mates to it? I don't think so. I normally say I like to contribute, I want to contribute, but I don't want to be forced to contribute. It's totally different. If I am forced, then I will resist it in some way. Even if in a conscious way, I will say to myself unconsciously, this is not right. I want to contribute, but not this way. I want to have another job. I want to do some other thing. This is not the way I want to contribute. And if this happens by the millions, you have a problem. Because people will contribute. This is a matter of trust. You give a basic income, and that's it. You give the basic income.
Kate,
you're not pulling the strings and say, oh, now you will contribute. Because this will kill the project. You must trust. It's essential. It is critical. You close your eyes and you have to do it. Otherwise, sorry,
okay.
We're not humans.
Kate?
Oh, no. I agree with all of this.
Yeah, and Daniel Pink and the science of motivation and all that, this is known. This is known that having autonomy increases the productivity even. If you have motivation because you're autonomous, because you're choosing to do what you want to do, you produce more, you feel better, everything is better. So this idea of control, the climate of control that is our society. We don't trust people, so we need to control them. It's backwards.
But I do understand the motivation for controlling. I understand that, again, from my engineering background, you must control the parameters. The building must not fall. Okay, I'm a civil engineering, so safety first. Nothing falls down. But you cannot, not even in engineering, you can control everything. And in some cases, and especially in social sciences, there are some things that you shouldn't control. So let's give up this idea that we can control everything. No, but it's true. It's written upon all these social benefits that they come to these poor fellows, and they have to strip in front of the dignitaries of the system, whoever they are, and say, oh, I earned this, I earned that, I spend here, I spend there, and put their lives on the table so they can have a miserable benefit. This is insulting! I'm not that serious!
No, you are. I'm right, Cordy, but I can imagine everything you're making is very, very visual. We need to close the show because I need to respect all your time, but this is really fantastic. And I do want to highlight on the program that the three of you have very unique and seemingly different points of view, but at the core of it all of you are very, very hard supporters of the universal basic income for different reasons, obviously, but that ties you together. So, you know, I continue to applaud your work and trying to make us understand, because a lot of people don't have the concept yet, me being one of them, but you're helping us to understand where we're going with all this. So in closure, I'd like to give each one of you a couple of minutes to make your closing statements. And if you have a organization you want to highlight so that our viewers can go there and learn more about the information, please do so. So we'll go first, ladies first. Kate, go ahead.
All right, so that time went fast. As far as a closing statement, I just want to reiterate the point that a jobless future can be fact or fiction as far as what we desire, what we value. I mean, maybe it will be fact eventually, regardless of why, given the pace of automation, something eventually will catch up with us. But keep in mind, like right now, we could automate a lot more jobs if we wanted to. If we wanted to free people up and give them more leisure time to pursue volunteer work or the arts or learning or being with their families or whatever they want to do. Just let people be free. But this requires a huge change in our policies and our systems of distribution of income. It requires a huge change in the political discourses, and that's just not something that we see today. So I encourage everyone to take a step back and ask, is what you really want, security and a full-time job that's going to drain your life, or a job where you're likely just to be involved somehow in manufacturing a new product and trying to convince people that they need it, or how to, right? We have all kinds of new jobs in part because we all generated all kinds of new demands for things that half a century ago we weren't taking into account. And it's one of the reasons that we anticipated there to be much less work than we do now. So, ask yourself, what value is your job really bringing to, or what value are most people's full-time jobs really bringing to the planet and to your life? And you try to imagine a society where we weren't so focused on ensuring full-time jobs for everyone, but where we said, like, let's share the wealth that we can produce through our machines these days. Let's encourage that development and let's liberate humans. Wouldn't that be nice?
Thank you very much, Kate. Dario, let's go with you.
Jobless future. Yeah, that's my dream. So I hope it is yours too, because it's hard to figure out what's the best way to live your life. But we really should try. We really should try to look past having an occupation, having a money-making occupation. About basic income, I love reading Scott Santon. What's his name? Santon. He's a great writer, so if anyone hasn't heard of him, fantastic. And let's look beyond. Let's look beyond our job.
Fantastic. And Andre, you're the one who helped put this show together, so I want to first of all acknowledge and thank you for your efforts and time, and you have closing statements.
Well, the jobless future, I would say, is actually an opportunity for self-fulfillment, right? As long as it is possible, because as we have, as the falling apart system we have now, it's not possible. It's a wreck. If it happens like this, if we have a jobless future in this economy, like you will have, I don't know, third World War, something like that, and the end of human race, end of story. So because I think that's my personal view as an optimistic, that we are just not stupid enough. We are stupid, but not enough. Then we will actually survive. And so, in the last minute, in the last microsecond of our possibilities, we will introduce basic income and start being happy for a while. Yeah. So I would just give some context.
Please.
I would say our site at Basic Income, basicincome.org, and Basic Income News, basicincome.org-news-. And also make a reference to our local Portuguese Basic Income group, which is at www.rendimentobasic.pt. That's it. And thanks a lot, Armando, for having us. This is a great show.
It's a real honor. Let me sort of try. I'm going to try really hard to sort of put everything in context, and I want you all here on the show so you hear what I hear. One of the statements, there's tons of statements that came to the surface that got me thinking, but one of them is, one of you said, forgive me, I didn't write who said it, opportunity for self-improvement. And I understand now that I can look at this jobless future. Robots are here. You can't ignore them, and what they can do is more and more. But the idea is that it's freeing us up to improve ourselves in a new way that we've never had an opportunity to do so in the past because we had to work. We were caught in this machine of 40 hours doing whatever job we had to do, and now we're being asked and invited to be more creative with our lives. And because of your support, the three of you, on the idea of universal basic income, it takes away the fear that, well, how am I going to survive? Here it is. That's being taken care of. Now go create. Now make life better. So I applaud you and from that side. And I hope I caught the logistics of what you're trying to say because there's so much material here. But I want to thank you personally, each one of you, for taking the time from different parts of the world to come together and sharing these thoughts with us. And please, they invited you, to our viewers, they invited you to visit the websites. Please do so. If you have any questions, contact me at lsacnational@hotmail.com, and any comments you want, I'll direct it over to them as well. So, aplauso to all three of you. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to having you in future shows and continuing this dialogue.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, guys, enjoy. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen,
Bye.
thank you for being on our program again. This is part of the future of today. And dialogue, think about it, because this whole idea, are we entering a jobless future, fact or fiction, affects everyone. Not another country, not over there, not in another community. Each one of us is being touched by this question. And the sooner we think about it in dialogue, we can be proactive instead of responding the other way around. Okay? Thank you very much. Again, I'm Armando Sanchez. I've been your host. Contact me at lsacnational@hotmail.com. Adios. Thank you. And thank you to our guests.